live. Where's your phone? I'm not sure this is going to work out.
Hi, Becky. Hi, Becky.
Well, we know the audio works.
Well, we know the audio, yeah. Okay. We have to rearrange things today. I said we have to rearrange things today. You had to move my chair. You have to. Okay. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Beautiful out here. We got some wind, but so far it's not been a problem. And I don't want to trust my temperature gauge in the house because when the sun hits it, it says it's a lot warmer than what it really is. My adventure says probably 80, maybe 82, something like that. Not bad with this breeze going through here. It makes it feel really good. Patrick and Laura, Kevin K, Racer Girl, and Kevin J. Hey Kevin, how you doing? How you doing on the house? Are you having any progress? Kevin's got a house for sale, and I said he decided to go to the other end like everybody else, I guess. So, but anyhow, if you guys are interested, I might ask him about his house. Mr. Rizzo, good morning. And like I said, we started off the day kind of crappy. You know, the electricity was out. Me and Buddy didn't care because we went out walking, so we didn't care if it was out or not. But um, it kind of, I couldn't have my coffee until it came back on. So I was kind of a hateful person this morning. Hey, Brad. Um, and Kevin says nothing yet. So, like I said, if you're interested in a home, get a hold of him and let him show you what he's got. And I said, he's got one for sale. Hey, Keys. Good to hear from you. Let me think. Like I said, it's one of those weeks I forgot what day it was. I can't keep it together this week for some reason. I think I talked to Deb this morning, and I got kind of upset because I sent her a message, and then I called her and got the answering service, and so I got I kind of got worried that maybe something was wrong, but she finally called me back this morning. She said her phone was being charged up, so it was off, and so nothing going on. So that's good. I got to make time to go down there and see her. It's just been such a busy month already, and we intended to get together in March, and then the granddaughter came, and that kind of threw a wrench in the works. And so in this month, y'all know what's went on this month um, with my brother passing away and have to go make that trip to Indiana and everything. It's just been a busy time. So that's why I said I got up this morning and I thought I need to go look at my watch and see what day it is. And I tell you, Skip got me this smartwatch for Christmas, and I'm not real savvy when it comes to how this thing works. And yesterday I was talking to a repairman, a Samsung repairman, because our microwave's out again. So I was talking to him on the phone, and all of a sudden he started coming over my watch, and I wasn't expecting that. So I didn't know whether to talk into my watch or talk into my phone or what, because I'd never used it before. It was, you know, somebody that didn't know what I was doing would have thought I was nuts. But Darrison says aloha from Oahu. Rich A says hi all, windy in Warminster, Pennsylvania. Gusts are 50 mile an hour. Wow. Lost cable last night for 2 hours due to fallen tree nearby. Gee, well, I'm glad we don't have 50 mile. We've got some wind, but
Tell them that we lost electricity this morning.
yeah. And I said, it's funny, we used to complain about going to, we went to Texas in March every year. There was just a constant wind the whole time. This year it's been here in Florida. For some reason, it doesn't, there's no wind in the morning. It starts in the afternoon and it just gets windier as the day goes on. So
10 years been here full time, actually longer than that. I have never seen us lose electricity, ever.
yeah.
But that being said, I have 2 power stations in there. One's a big one, one's a small one. And while everybody was out here, funny thing, electricity goes out, you look outside, everybody's standing out in the street talking to each other. Hey, you got electricity? Hey, do you got electricity? I ain't got electricity. When did it go out? I'm in the house, and I was telling our Canadian neighbor over here, he was in the garage, and I said, did you find out why it went out? I'm just curious. I don't care that it went out, but why? And he didn't, no cell phone connection or any of that. I said, well, I've got TV because I had 2 power stations. I had my TV running, and I took the power station on the other power station, and I plugged in my router for the internet. So I had that.
Yeah.
The problem is, man, she drives in there kind of fast. The problem is no air conditioning. I don't have a whole house, a generator. So, if it was a 100-degree day, that could be a problem when electricity goes out.
Yeah, but this morning it was, like 57 degrees.
No, the day was fine. No big deal.
Yeah. But he wants a cookie.
I'm just saying that for those of you coming down that's thinking about generators and stuff. If electricity does go out in the middle of summer, you have no air conditioner unless you got a whole house generator.
Yeah. But just go outside. Even if it's hot.
That's what everybody else did. They're all standing out here.
Go out in the shade. Well, yeah, and everybody was out wondering what was going on. And I watched a power company truck over on Hillsborough, and they were putting out cones and stuff, so I figured maybe there was a wreck or something. But they had it back on by, 8 o'clock?
Wasn't off very long,
Yeah.
maybe an hour. So I get up 5 o'clock this morning, so I feel like crap right now. I couldn't sleep last night. But I would say about an hour, and it was back on. Did you call Spectrum?
No, everybody down the street that was standing out there told me that they had called, and they said it'd be back on about 9.
Oh, okay. So
they never said why.
But it was on way before 9.
Well, there was a wreck down south, I think 44 and...
Our utilities are underground.
Well, I know. But like I said, if they hit a box or something like that, I don't know. But anyhow, they said it wasn't off long, and we got power back. Craig Vernon says, put in a bid on a house in Hadley, but we didn't get it. Well, said on to the next one.
Here's how you buy a house here in the Villages, unless you get lucky. You just offer them full price and be done with it.
Well, in the new ones, that's not making it. They have to do the lottery.
He said he put in Hadley. That's a used house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Wrestler says Central PA has big wind gusts. Said, I did not even eat chili. And Sherry Barnes says, we have whole house generator. Well, we just have the small ones that we carry in the motorhome.
We can't have one here.
Yeah. Yeah, you can now.
You have to have natural gas to have a full house generator here.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that they okayed it. I didn't know what.
I know, but I asked about it. I says, gas, can I have an LP tank? But no LP tanks are allowed. You have to have natural gas, unless they've come up with some other idea since they started this, because I actually thought about getting one because of hurricanes.
Oh, okay.
But they said if you don't have access to natural gas, you can't have one.
Well,
now, that's what they told me 5 years ago.
Yeah. Keep that in mind, though, if you're house hunting. Like I said, this neighborhood is all electric.
We're all electric.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the next neighborhood is,
Well, I know down south, most of them's got gas because they got the, what they call a constant hot water heater thing on the side of the house.
Yeah.
Those are all gas.
Yeah, but not every neighborhood down there does, just some of them.
Well, I don't know.
I take the biggest share of it.
Everyone I've seen down there had it.
Yeah. Laura says, I'm using my last floating holiday today. My employer won't pay me for this if I don't use it before retirement day. Well,
use it or lose it, they say.
Yeah. What are you going to do today, Laura? You going to do something fun? Do something fun. You got plenty of time to do something important. So do something fun. Yeah, and Laura says, Craig, keep on trying. That's the best you can do. And Chuck says you can't bury an LP tank. That's right. Like I said, we can't have them here.
Can't what?
Have an LP tank. He says you can't bury them.
No, they don't allow you to do that either.
And Laura says, I get listings emailed to me almost every day with price reductions. Lots of pre-owned patio villas north of 466, under 260,000. Just look at age of roof and AC. Yeah, those are your.
Well, Ira put one on his YouTube channel yesterday. Now, I don't know anything about it, but it looked like a good deal to me. It's on top of the world, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, completely renovated inside, new everything, flooring, everything. 260, 2-car garage.
Huh.
That sounded like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah, if you want to live on top of the world. Okay. Hey, well, you're going to rent for a while, Laura, aren't you? You're not going to come down. You're not going to buy one right away. I think that's what you said. So, Judy Payne says Chitty Chatty are all electric, and my neighbor has a whole house generator.
What?
She said Chitty Chatty is all electric, but her neighbor has a whole house generator.
Where's she getting the fuel?
I don't know.
I don't believe that. You got to have fuel.
Well, now she wouldn't lie about something.
Because when the electricity goes out, the generator automatically starts. What's it running on? It doesn't run on electricity.
Oh.
Because you ain't got any electricity.
Okay. I don't know. And Racer Girl says, can you have a gasoline generator? Yes.
I've got a portable one in there. Yeah, you can set it out in your driveway and start it up to run a refrigerator or whatever it is you want to run. But my point is, on a 100-degree day, if your electricity goes out, you got no air conditioning. Well, that's 220.
You know, a lot of people that are out and about, that don't bother them.
Odds are, if something's happened where your electricity goes out, everybody's home. Nobody's out and about when a hurricane's coming.
Well, no. Wasn't a hurricane today.
Well, that's when we have problems. Usually it's during a hurricane or a tornado.
My biggest problem was I couldn't fix coffee. He had too many things plugged in. No.
Well, I don't have a generator. I have power stations. That's different.
I know.
My power stations would run an air.
It would run the coffee pot.
The big one will. The small one won't.
Yeah. Mr. Rizzo says one of our neighbors in LaBelle North has a big propane tank on the side of their house. Not sure if it was approved.
Probably not, because I called. I'm not going to turn him in, and I'm not going to say it. I'm just telling you what they told me 5 years ago. I said, can I get a propane tank, LP tank, put on the side of the house? And they said, no. In my district, that's not allowed.
Laura says, I'll probably rent for a few months. I need the money from my home sale here in Chicago to pay for the home in the Villages. Yes. And it gives you an idea. Well, you've been down here enough. You probably have an idea of where you want to go.
When is she retiring?
She's retiring in May, but I don't think she'll be down here.
In May?
August or September, yeah.
Put it up for sale now.
Well, might be. She didn't say.
The average home sells in 30 days, roughly.
Yeah.
So put it up for sale now. By the time she buys it, it'll be in the contract. She has 30 days to move out. We did that. The time crunch is kind of tight, but you can do it.
Yeah, Judy said that the neighbor, he has a buried tank. The neighbor has a buried tank.
Is that allowed there?
I don't know if it's allowed or he just went around the rules. They may not see it.
Well, I'm just curious. I don't care if he goes around the rules. They ain't none of my business. I'm just curious if that was allowed there, because if it's allowed there, they may have changed the rules where it's allowed here now.
Yeah, well, that's worth the phone call to find out. Yeah, because as far as we knew, you weren't allowed to, but I said they may have changed the rules. Because you used to, you couldn't even put in a generator.
No, they stopped. They just, that was the one of the main changes where they allowed it. But you can't put it anywhere on your property. It has to be on the side of the house. Well, once again, this is a rule from years ago. It had to be on the side of the house that your air conditioner's on.
Okay, Shotzi said maybe it's solar.
I don't know.
Yeah, Rachel Girl said they make backup generators for a whole house that run on gasoline.
You going to Dairy Queen? Bring me home an ice cream cone.
Missy Mo says hello from Michigan. Rich A says, if I move to the Villages, I will get a window AC and connect to portable generator
You can do that.
just for use when power's out.
You can do that. And I got a small air conditioner, and if it goes out, it's only a one-room air conditioner, but that's exactly what I'll do. I ain't going to sit in here and die. I will start it up. I know having a window air conditioning against these restrictions, but you know what? Screw them.
If it comes to something like that, because you need it when you sleep more than anything.
I need it to stay alive.
Well,
100-degree day here, and you're 80 years old. Remember next door?
yeah.
That really ticked me off.
William says, we have a lunar generator, runs best during a full moon. And Sherry Barnes said, we had to have ARC approval. Yes, for anything like that, you need to have ARC approval.
For what?
For your generator.
Generally speaking, large companies that does work like that, they'll get the approval for you.
Yeah.
Just tell them you want a copy of it.
Yeah. And Kathy B says, hey, Skip and Sue, your plants are looking great. Well, thank you. They're
not my plants. Just so you know, they're not my plants.
And I've had a time with them because it, you know, in summer weather, without this awning out, the sun is really hot here.
It'll burn them.
And it'll burn them. And so, and when we were gone, for that few days that we were gone, I had them in the garage. So I didn't have to worry about anybody watering them. So I put them in the garage, and it kind of stunted one a little bit, and it's coming out of it, but it took a while.
I got a new indoor-outdoor temperature thing. I got it on a whim. Seriously, I saw it on a guy's YouTube channel, and I thought, man, I like that. And so I got one, and I've been testing it out. And I brought the outdoor sensor, and I set it up there in the corner of the house. Not even out here. Up there in the corner of the house before you go in the front door, there's a big potted plant there, and that's shaded, all the time shaded. And in the afternoon with that sensor out there, I told her, I said, 120 degrees over there. Mm-hmm. I have no idea how hot it gets here. This is a hot spot.
Judy said that the generator was put in when the house was built, so they evidently allow it now. So.
Okay.
Popeye said, what did the pioneers of the past do before there was AC?
They were tough. That's right. They were tough.
And most
as human beings nowadays, we whine about the silliest stuff. We just whine and cry about crap.
I'm glad you put that we in there.
All of us. We all do. We all have our idiosyncrasies. I whine about the uncomfortable seats in the car. Now think about this. I have a car today that has air conditioning, heat, everything else you can imagine, and I argue about this seat. I don't like this seat. And yet, people in the past rode horses across the country.
Wrestler says, yesterday I went to physical therapy for my arm, went to the dentist for cleaning, got stitches removed, black mole removed. My body was yelling at me by the end of the day. Yes, I've had those days.
Welcome to being retired.
Yeah. Yeah, wait until, about 68? About 68, your body turns on you.
Every 10 years, you'll notice a significant difference in how you are. Mm-hmm. At 60, you're one way. I remember asking a friend of mine, he's gone now, his name was Dick. I asked Dick, I said, when did you really start feeling your age, where you just noticed things just wasn't right? And without a hesitation, at 60. And I think he was gone before he was 70.
Yeah. But like I said, I felt it at 68.
Actually, I'm 73 now, and I didn't really notice a difference in my health until I was 70. Up until 70, I was pretty good. But here in the last 3 years, I don't know.
Sitting in that chair do that.
Ain't sitting in a chair.
Okay.
Your body will go bad no matter what you do. People will run and have a heart attack.
Yeah. Craig Vernon says we are looking for a $450,000 or less between 466 and 44.
Well, you can find them. It depends on how big of a house do you want.
3-bedroom, 2-car garage, cash sale.
How many bedroom?
3.
That's right. 3 and 2 is pretty common.
2-car garage, cash sale. If anyone has not listed, prefer gas, but not a deal breaker.
How much is Kevin wanting for his?
$429, I think.
$429. Well, he's got a golf cart garage too. He got a nice house, and they've done a lot of work to it, getting everything looking good.
Yeah.
They did get rid of the what I call the African bathroom, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. I liked it myself, but
You would,
she overrode everybody. She said, "Nope, that wallpaper's coming out." So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Craig talked to Kevin, and I said he's got one for sale.
Yeah.
That might be your deal right there.
Well, I don't know if how much you say wanted for it. $429.
$429. Yeah.
And how much did you say he didn't want to pay?
Under $450.
Kevin's got a nice house. He's got a nice neighborhood, and he's halfway between Brownwood and Lake Sumter, so you can go either way.
Yeah. Is that the Buttonwood area? Is it Kennecan?
He's on here probably. You can probably ask him. I'm not sure exactly what that neighborhood is. I'll say Buttonwood area, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. It's a nice area. Really, really.
And
nice.
he's not on a cut-through street, so you ain't got to worry about UPS trucks and everybody going to work cutting through your neighborhood.
That's right. Chris Roker says, I love you guys. I can't wait to visit this June. You guys perform a great public service. I love Skip. He keeps it real. Yeah, sometimes he keeps it too real, Chris.
You know, it depends on what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah, and how many cookies he's had.
Well, it ain't just that. It's just that there are some people, and I've mentioned it before, and I've even read through some of the comments that I get a kick out of them. There are some people, they just don't want to hear the truth. They don't. You know, and no matter what you say, they say the opposite no matter what it is. If I say that they got a problem with children living here, their immediate response is, but this is one of the safest communities in Florida. I didn't say it wasn't. I said there's a problem with children living with their parents here. And the other thing I said was, I'm not sure it's a retirement community much anymore, truthfully. You can say that the majority of the people living here are over a certain age. But at one time, they advertised this place as being Central Florida's best retirement community, blah, blah, blah. And they haven't mentioned that in years. They don't even talk about it anymore.
Yeah. Rich A says people also died at a younger age.
They did back in the day.
Yeah.
Especially those honors past that didn't make it. You know.
Ricky P says, I watched Have Gun Will Travel. Enjoyed it. I love that show.
That's on my Patreon. I give them an old show. Every now and then, I just think it's kind of cool. I'll find an old movie, like My Friend Flicka, or Have Gun Will Travel, or I did some other ones. I can't remember what they all was. But anyway, and I'll put them on Patreon for Saturday night movie night.
Well, he always reminded me of Chet.
Kind of like that, yeah. Yeah, Chet had a little mustache like that, too, at one time.
Well, and I remember, I said my first thought was Boston Blackie. Remember Boston Blackie?
I know the name. I don't know if I ever watched it.
It started out as a radio show. But anyhow, and then my stepdad always reminded me of Boston Blackie because he had this gray sharkskin suit, and he wore black leather gloves, driving gloves. And I said, it's the first time I'd ever seen anybody dressed like that.
Yeah. People our age, they know these shows. If they're, I don't even know, I'm going to pick an age. I'll say if you're 55 years old or less, you probably heard of these shows but never watched them.
Right. Chris Walker says, hey, Skip, I'm from New York City and can't wait to be your neighbor.
Well, there's nothing for sale here. But
soon,
if there was, I would tell you. Not around me here. Is there any in the neighborhood?
The one back here behind us in the circle may be for sale soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been gone. I think they had to wait 9 days, but he's been gone a couple months now. So.
Oh, somebody passed away. Yeah. Some people are funny about that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't pass away in the house.
We also had another neighbor down the road down here passed away 3 days ago. It's hard losing these guys because they all moved in when we moved in. And so we all get together and have these driveway parties to introduce ourselves to everybody. They introduce us to us. The guy down here that passed away, he's the guy that takes care of our neighborhood hats and our T-shirts. This is one of his T-shirts. This is one of his hats. And now that he's gone, I don't know if she's going to continue that or not. So as time goes on, things just change.
Yeah. Wrestler says, wait, did Skip just say on air that his dick slowed down at 60?
My dick?
That's what he's asking. Evidently.
No, not slowed down. My friend Richard.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's what he said. His friend Dick. Yeah. Wrestler, shame on you. Craig Vernon says Cosmo. Yeah. Let's see. William says, my dad said if you live to be 100, it is only 36,500 days. Well,
My great grandfather lived to be 101. On his 100th birthday, a long time ago, his 100th birthday, he received a letter from President John Kennedy. I guess that's a presidential thing for everybody every year. You get a letter from the president congratulating you on your 100th birthday. He got one, and my great grandfather was a staunch Republican. And I remember Dad and my grandpa went to visit Uncle or Grandpa Klein. That was his last name, Klein. That would be my grandma I'd never met. She died. That was her dad. And anyway, he was eating a peach, and he was telling Dad and showed him that letter. And he said, I could never believe it. I'd get a letter from a goddamn Democrat.
I remember your dad telling that story. Kevin says, new roof, new AC, and new hot water heater. Yeah, that's what he put in his house.
Yeah,
So
they done a lot of work.
deal.
They done a lot of work there, and the house is laid out really nice. I mean, the lanai, they turned it into a sitting room, I guess you'd call it, which is, they did it right. They actually raised the concrete floor up to be level with the rest of the house, which means you can add that square footage to the house. It's got a side door. He had some landscaping done. I know he had that done.
But like I said, he's got the main thing, the new roof, new AC, and new hot water heater.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them homes you can move into and not worry about anything for a long while, unless you don't like the color and you want to tuck that bathroom, which I recommend, to change the bathroom color on the walls back to a forest look.
It didn't look like forest, it looked like jungle.
Yeah,
it was big palm leaves everywhere. Laura says, my last day at work is June 2nd. I've been training my replacement for the past 2 weeks. Oh, come on.
June the 2nd.
Says, I haven't worked this hard or put in so many extra hours since December 2024 year-end closing.
Well, get your real estate guy over there now. Get the paperwork done. Get the pictures taken. And then give him a date to start listing it. Yeah. Like, I don't know, huh?
Yeah, if you sell before you're ready, you can always rent something.
Well, you put it in the contract. You got 30 days to move out from the time the contracts are signed.
Yeah. But yeah, June 2nd. That's pretty soon.
And then between now and then, start getting rid of your crap.
Yeah. And then Kevin says,
you have 3 piles of crap. You got the keep pile. I'm keeping this, taking this with me. You got the giveaway pile, the stuff you're going to give to your kids, grandkids, neighbors, whoever. And then you got the donation pile. That's the stuff that you give to the churches or whatever. And then you're done.
Yeah. And she says she'll be in Chicago until late June for sure. Okay.
I bet you just can't wait to get out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Because if I was in your shoes, that'd be me.
Well,
I'm getting out of here.
Her replacement has been more work, and it was the end of the year, so.
Well, they did that at UPS too. When somebody in management or the front office was going to leave, generally months before that person retired, or whatever, they already had somebody in place in there that they'd been training for a couple of months. So when that person left, this person could just take right over. And that's a good way to run business. I don't have a problem with that. Truck drivers are the same way, believe us or not. That when you leave, they want to make sure somebody is trained and got the years experience and has got the time put in to go right into your position. And, so that's why when I left the way I did, it pissed them really off really bad because I left them lurching. They didn't have anybody take my place.
Let's see. And Laura says, I hope my replacement gets hired permanently. Right now, he's a contractor with a 4-month contract until my job sharing person returns from parental leave on June 17th.
He's a contractor?
He's a contractor with a 4-month contract.
Oh, an employment contract?
Yeah, she's got a job sharing person, but they're on parental leave.
They do that here with our doctors. So in the village's health system, I swear to God, I must have fell into the wrong place. Every 2 years, I get a new doctor because their 2-year contract runs out, and it's so frustrating. Oh. I just got another new one. This makes in 10 years. This makes my 4th doctor, doesn't it? 4th doctor.
You wear them out. What can I say? Darrison Hanger says the entertaining old video we watched last night was Skip's midnight trip to Brownwood.
Oh.
Where the only people out were drunks leaving Bluefin and Very funny and entertaining. That was a good video. And it was an accident.
I don't plan them. I just went down there to show you what it looked like at night.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the whole idea of that was so after the squares close down, people go home and go to bed. I said by 10 o'clock, probably 75% of people are in bed. And so I went down there to show you what it looked like at night. It's just nothing going on. Well, that one bluefin bar over there was open. The outside bar was open. But everything else you saw after that, I was hiding in a corner when I heard them yelling back and forth. I didn't know what was going on, so I just kind of ducked in a corner over there where they couldn't see me. I just let the camera run. Didn't know if you could see anything at night. And all I could hear about somebody saying, "Hey, you forgot your dog. Hey, you forgot your dog."
I can imagine that. Chris Roker said, "I'd like to meet up with you guys, grab lunch. I buy. We just got to move the body." Well, send Skip an email. We might be able to do that.
We went out and had lunch last night with Jose and what's his wife's name? Maria.
Maria. Yeah.
And then his friend, I can't remember his name, Dennis?
I don't remember. And yeah. I was going to tell Jose that I didn't get to say nice to meet you because I couldn't remember their name.
And I met I think it was his wife. Sue said he thought it was his daughter, but I don't know. But anyway.
They just got back from Japan. Interesting.
Yeah. And they were
showing us some interesting pictures over there.
Yeah. Doc, did you know that Japan's #1 Christmas dinner is Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yeah.
That's what they have for Christmas dinner.
And didn't he say they put corn on pizza?
And they put corn on pizza.
Yeah. I was interested. I never heard that before.
Anyway, we went to we were going to go to Ruby Tuesdays.
Ruby Tuesday, because I thought special last night.
Yeah, I thought they closed Ruby Tuesdays down back in the COVID days, never reopened it, but apparently I'm wrong. I don't get up there that much. And he said, no, they're there. So we went up there. My God, this place was packed.
It was an hour wait.
Yeah, an hour wait. And I told him, I said, you guys do what you want, but I'll go find somewhere else to eat. Because I said, there's no food for me that's worth an hour sitting around here waiting. I'm not doing it. And when my blood pressure drops, I have no patience whatsoever. So he says something about Chili's. Well, a week or two ago, he was here, and he was telling me about Chili's brought back that on their appetizers, this 3 thing. I forget what it's called now.
Yeah, it's not an appetizer anymore. It's a entree now.
Well, I used to get it as a dinner anyway.
Well, I said,
when it was an appetizer.
Yeah, it was an appetizer.
It used to be called Southwestern Trio or something like that. Yeah. Well, he said he brought it back, but now it's on a dinner thing. What you used to be able to get for $8, now it's $17. But anyway, I got that because I haven't had that for a long time, and I really like that. So I did get that, and then we sat there and shot the bull for a while. And by the time we got home, I think it was dark.
Oh yeah, it was almost 9 o'clock time we got home. We had a good time, and like I said, that the food was good. I mean, we went to Chili's. It's one of those places where they're usually the same everywhere. I kind of like that. People complain about corporate restaurants, but I kind of like that because I know what I'm getting.
Well, the thing about corporate restaurants that I like about them is whether you like them or don't like them, is no matter where I go, it's the same thing. It's like Walmart. You go to any Walmart and they're all designed about the same. You know where to go to get something.
Yeah.
And if I go into, say, I don't know, a Chick-fil-A here, it's the same Chick-fil-A that's in Indianapolis. The food will taste about the same. And so that's really what I like about it more than anything. I do like going to different restaurants, but I'm real leery about what to order anymore because these different people in the different places, they cook things different ways, and they make stuff using a different kind of grease. And sometimes it smells funny, and I don't know. I went to that new place that took over Red Lobster. What's it called?
Tap House.
The Tap House. Mm-hmm. I have never been there. Give me, buddy. I've never been there. So we were over there. What was we over there for?
We done our taxes.
We went and got our taxes done. That was fun.
Yeah. That was scary.
And so while we're over there, so let's just go here and get a bite to eat. I've never been there. So I go in and get something to eat. And I'm talking to probably one of the best waitresses I've had. Because I'm a talker. I get to talking to you when they're not busy. I'll talk your leg off. And we're talking. She's young. I'm old. And so, we're just kind of gibber. She was telling me how hard it is to make a living and buy a house, save money to buy a house and all that. I can relate to that because we've all been there. So anyway, I was telling her a couple of tricks that we learned as we grew up. I said, you can apply them, you can listen to me, or just don't pay no attention to me at all, So anyway,
Crazy old man.
yeah. So anyway, I brought her, but I don't get into all that. One idea I gave her though, her eyes really got bright. She said that she had actually thought about that. That's why it's a good idea, because I said I know guys that done that, and I said you can. It's a way of owning a house for free. And I told her that if you got one of them around here somewhere for sale, I said wherever it is, buy it. So I had to point to this whole story, and I forgot what it was. Oh, I ordered chicken wings because I love chicken wings, but I'm always leery about where to order them because everybody makes chicken wings different. And I told her, I said, the main thing to me with chicken wings is if I can put my finger on that cooked chicken wing, and if I can move that skin around, I don't want it. That means it's undercooked. I don't want it. So she brought it to me at the table, and before she even set it down, I took my finger. I said, look here, I can move the skin all around. Look at this. And she said, oh, I'll send that back. She said, because I told them. And so she laughed. She did. She brought it back the second time. Now, the second time looked more done. But but I didn't want to say anything anymore. And I said, no, I'll eat these. And so she set them down. I ate like maybe 3. Mm-hmm. And I finally sent the rest of them back. I don't even want them. Because when they're that undercooked, and I don't know what kind of grease they use. Some grease has a funny smell. That when I'm eating this stuff and I'm smelling it, I told Sue it kind of smells like rotten chicken, and I just can't eat it. So they took it off my bill, though. That's fine. But when I came home, I ate 2 ears of corn, something to eat.
Yeah. Claire May says, hi, everybody. Sue, love the outfit. Looks like you two are matching colors today. It wasn't on purpose. We just ended up.
I'm red. How can we be matching colors?
You're not red.
Huh?
Your hat's red.
That's not red.
Are you looking at my shorts?
I can't see.
They're the same color.
I can't see through your forest.
Anyway, well, thank you, Claire May. Let's see. Cole Winkler says, we're wondering if August or September is better for a lifestyle visit.
August will be super hot.
Mm-hmm. And rainy.
And September will be hot also, but maybe the humidity might not be. October is even better. If you can come in October, October is a good month.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because our rainy season is from June 1st to November 30th. And that means it's going to rain every day.
Every day.
Now, that might not be bad. You know, it cools things down a little bit. And it might just be, 5 minutes and it's over. But you can almost guarantee it's going to rain every day. So if you're flying in, that sometimes is an issue. I know I used to get stuck sometimes because they wouldn't unload the luggage if it was storming.
And also, our rainy season is our hurricane season. Same thing.
Yeah, and we don't have a hurricane every day, but it's just the idea.
No, but wouldn't it be kind of a bummer to come down here for a 3 or 4 day lifestyle visit, and for 3 or 4 days you can't do anything because everything's closed because we're getting ready to have the hurricane.
Yes. So yeah, October's a good month because by then the biggest share of the hurricane is pooped out. Might get one every once in a while, and then I said before June, and I said we're actually in a drought right now, so we really need the rain, but I said we haven't had any for a while other than just spitting rain. That's about it.
Yeah, it's kind of dry right now. We come back from having lunch, and I was noticing going up there. I forget I think we went up 301. I'm not sure. Anyway, going up, I noticed that half the ponds are low. You can see the water level, and then it's down to here. But then when I got up to somewhere up around, I think it was Evans Prairie, there's a lake on there on their last 9 holes up there. There's 27 holes. It's the last 9-hole area up there, and the lake up there was clean to the top. I mean, like ready to overflow. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they moved water around again. I don't know, but most generally the ponds south of 466 are a little low. But they were sprinkling or watering all the stuff down the road last night. She was out there adjusting them. I saw her.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they kind of control that really. So not everywhere, but in most, they've got a unique drainage system here. So when we get the hurricanes and the storms, the amount of water that we get is sometimes tremendous compared to what we were used to up north. But the way the drainage is here, everything drains to the golf courses. and that way they manipulate the water in different places to keep the streets from flooding. So we've never had a flooded street.
I've never seen it, not here.
Yeah.
I think in the older area that it's been a couple of tunnels or something.
Yeah. And I don't know if they got that taken care of.
Probably. You probably find out if some kind of trash got on a drain in there and blocked the drain and whatever. And then there's always one or two idiots in a golf cart that tries to drive their electric golf cart through this flooded tunnel, and then it shorts it out and it doesn't run anymore. And then they sit in there hollering help. You know, I want to stand there and going, come on over here. You're dumb enough to drive in there. Get out of that thing and walk over here.
Laura Lampy says, and tomorrow is my last day on my HOA board of directors. Hallelujah. Never would I recommend anyone to serve on an HOA board. That's got to be hard.
You can't satisfy anybody.
Yeah, that's got to be hard.
I was a union steward for the Teamsters for one term. I think a term, if I remember right, was a 2 or 4 year term, maybe a 4 year term. Maybe it was a 2 year term, and I got elected a second time. Anyway, I was, and trust me, just like contracts and everything else, you're never going to satisfy everybody.
Yeah. Kyle Reed says, hi, Skip and Sue. Great to see you. Got to get out of Ohio. It's still cool and very little sun. Wow.
Ohio's a nice state. I mean, as a trucker, there's some things about Ohio I didn't like, but Ohio as a state, it's a lot like Indiana in some ways. You got the western half of Ohio, which is one way. The eastern half of Ohio is another way. There's nothing wrong with either one of them.
Yeah.
But eastern half of Ohio, you might get into some coal mining. Western half, you really don't.
And we understand because we were just up in Indiana last week, and so, you know, one day it was 70, the next day it was 40.
50. Yeah.
So,
but this time of year is typical.
Yeah. Let's see.
And when we left up there, a tornado hit.
Oh, yeah. Laura says, Cole, if you're thinking you're living in the villages year-round, visit in August to experience heat and humidity. The early September is hot and humid as well. Yes. Those are, like I said, those are two of the months it's still hot and humid, but you're going to get a lot of rain in those 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, if that's the only time you got to come here, I guess that's what you got to do, and just come down with your fingers crossed and hope that everything just kind of goes good.
Yeah, and very seldom do we have those weeks where it rains every day. I mean, sometimes we have weeks when it's cloudy, but it's usually one day and clears up the next. But like I said, this last year has been, it's been odd for weather, I think. We were colder than we've ever been.
It's been kind of a weird weather.
And it stayed,
a weird year for weather.
Colder, but it stayed colder longer than what it ever has.
Yeah.
It would be 3 or 4 days, which, you know, we're used to it being cold one day and then going back to normal the next.
Right.
So it wasn't a deep freeze because it didn't kill the plants.
No, but when you're used to 80-degree weather and all of a sudden every day's 50, you're like, Jesus.
Yeah. Especially if you're an early riser.
I'm not. I've never had. Now, I was today. Today I got out of bed and the sun wasn't even up yet.
A wrestler says, we're helping look for a house in Pennsylvania for our youngest. Many places up here have stipulation in their listing that closing can't be done until a certain date, like May 31st, etc. Never saw that before.
That's the way it is here. They tell you what dates are going to close. You don't have a choice. If you buy a house here in the village, as a new one especially, just let me tell you what I know. And this is still in place. They will contact you once you buy a new house, whatever it is. They will tell you what date your closing is and what time, and you can't change it. If you do change it, there's a big fine on it for a changing date. The last time I checked, that fine was something like, I can't be there on April the 1st, but I can come on April the 3rd. Well, you may not get April the 3rd. They may call you, get back to you and say, our next opening date for you will be April 23rd. And, you know, and there'll be a $1,500 fine, but they don't call it a fine. They call it a changing date fee or something, whatever they call it. So I know when they told us what our closing date and stuff was, we didn't even live here. And, but yeah, we did it all on the computer from up north, and they told us what time to log on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they got everything down pat to a T.
Chris Walker says, can you please tell me why the hype with Eastport? What's so special? What's the hype with Eastport? What's so special about Eastport?
That's where the school is. That's a big deal. Middleton, right there next to Middleton's over here. Eastport's right over there. It's just another new town. At one time, Lake Sumter was the big thing. Oh, Lake Sumter, and then they come down to Brownwood. Ooh, Brownwood, we got to go to Brownwood. Now it's Eastport. Ooh, we got to go to Eastport.
And the farther they go, the more they put in. You know, they listen to what the residents say as far as what they want. And so, you know, they didn't used to have a walking path. You know, it used to be just a golf cart path in your street. And then now they've got multimodal trails, which you can walk on those paths. There's some paths that you can't take. It's walking or bicycle. You can't take a golf cart on. That's all in, you know, south of 44. But as they go farther south, they listen to people about what they want.
They got a lot more. I do know they got south of 44. It seems like there's a lot more nature trails down there than there are here.
And they've got the astronomy course now and down there, and we never had that before, where they can go. They've got a pad. They go out and they take their telescopes and look at the stars and that kind of thing.
But I've heard the difference is when it comes to them nature trails and things, and I don't know this. I don't have a map. I didn't count, but it makes sense to me. Here where I'm at, to give you an idea, within a 10-minute golf cart ride, I got 13 different golf courses I can go to. 13. Down there, there's a lot less golf courses because they use nature trails, nature preserves, nature walking trails, and what could have been a golf course. And now it's a nature trail. And 2 or 3 people told me that there's not enough golf courses down there.
But they've got pitch and putt, which we don't have up here.
Pitch and putt really is almost like, I know what the idea of it is. I'll be honest with you. I think that pitch and putt thing is just a big waste of time. It's basically a place to take your grandkids, be able to chip balls and putt, and you know.
For somebody that don't golf, it would be fun.
Yeah, but how many of them do you need?
But Eastport itself, they're having a water entity there, like they do in Lake Sumter, and from there, from what I understand, they'll be able to launch the dragon boats and several other different things that they're going to do around the water. And I said, Lake Sumter was a big hit because of that water thing. And I said, I think Eastport will be the same way. But like I said, they just put more and more stuff in that you'd be interested in. And so I think that's why the Eastport has such an appeal.
Well, Eastport's nice. Don't get me wrong. I've been down there. Matter of fact, we went down there. Was it last week? We went to Middleton. Where did we go?
Victory
Sports Bar and Grill. If you're a Patio member, there's a video of it on that. And we met a bunch of people from Patreon and Discord down there. And it's a nice place. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
The stores are all full. There's only 1 or 2 stores that are open now.
Yeah.
But when the stores are all full, it's going to be a very cute little town to wander around in.
Yeah, that's what I was asking when we were there, because it's kind of weird because they have like 1 or 2 things open here and there, and the sports bar was one of them. Everything else around you is either they're still working on it, or they're empty. They're not rented them out yet, and so you can't tell. For me anyway, you can't tell. That's what I was asking. So is all that going to be shopping center over there? What is that over there? But nobody really knows.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be shopping to me.
Anna Marie says, I'm coming down in August to see how Florida stacks up to New York heat and humidity.
Oh, we got you beat. Where are you going? Hey.
Let's see.
Don't worry about that lizard.
And yeah, Jerry Bell says, Chris, it's new. That's one thing right there. It's something new.
Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with new. Everything was new here. I remember going to Brownwood and we didn't have a furniture store. Now we do. I remember going to Brownwood when half the restaurants weren't even open yet.
Yeah, they had food trucks.
They had food trucks around.
They were doing that in Middleton now. They have food trucks.
It's just kind of nice to be somewhere, and as it grows, you grow. As the houses when you move in a neighborhood, 90% of them are empty. And then this guy moves in, then that guy moves in, you know, and then you get to know.
It's going to take a while before they get a lot of things down there, because, you know, they're concentrating on housing right now. And I said what Eastport has, what Middleton has, that's, unless you go all the way up to Magnolia Plaza, that's kind of what you're stuck with, unless you go outside the villages. So it's going to take a while, but they do things so
They'll
fast
get it.
here.
They'll get it. Everybody complains about that all the time, and we always tell them, be patient. It's coming.
Yeah, they
say, well, we got no grocery stores down here. Be patient. They're coming.
Yeah. And Darrison Herringer says, Chris people look forward to living close to the prison.
You know, I'm not going to say anything about that because in Pendleton, I live probably a stone throw away from what used to be called the Pendleton Reformatory family business, but now it's the Pendleton State Prison, I believe.
Yeah.
And we never heard a thing, never saw a thing,
No,
nothing.
Anybody left there, they was wanting to get as far away as they could.
Yeah, if it was one or two kids at the time, it wasn't the state prison, but it was reformatory. The kids worked. They made them work. And what they did there, I thought was a good idea. They owned like 150 acres or something like that around that prison. And that was a 150-acre garden. They grew everything you can imagine, and all that food that they grew at that prison, or reformatory at the time, that food was sent to other Indiana prisons to feed the prisoners. They grew the food and sent. So anyway, it was a good idea. And
they had a shop where you get your car fixed.
Yeah, barbershop.
Yeah.
Cabinet making shops. They had, and the contractors there would donate the material, and the prisoner boys, reformatory, would build cabinets and things, and they would teach them how to do this, and then the contractors would install them cabinets into a house that they were building. Yeah. So it was a good idea.
Yeah, it gives them something for their occupation once they got out.
I don't have it. What do you want?
And I think all that changed, but at the time it was a good idea.
Buddy, where are you going?
Okay. Yeah, and Kevin says because it's new, and yeah, that's the biggest share right there, just because it's new.
Come here. Get up here. Come up here.
And Cole Winkler says, Laura, same in Virginia, but thanks. We're looking at the villages to retire and never been there. We'll call it. It's totally different than any place you've ever been. That's for sure.
That's a fact. I mean, there ain't no lying about that. Of all the good and all the bad that's here, you get here and you see what the lifestyle is. You've probably never seen anything like it here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other communities that's kind of like this, but nothing on this scale.
Yeah. And then I said, there's some nice ones like that. On Top of the World.
Top of the World's nice.
It's nice. Spruce Creek.
Spruce Creek is nice.
Stonecrest. Those are all.
Stonecrest is nice.
Actually, there's a lot of them around us.
Yeah.
They're on a very small scale compared to what we are here.
And in some cases, I prefer that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm getting sick of the traffic around here.
Yeah.
That's just me. Sue would stay here until we both die. But and I got no problem with it. I probably will because I just find other things to do. So I don't want to go out in the public anymore. I don't want to deal with that traffic anymore. I don't want to deal with some of the people around here anymore. So, so I can stay here. I got other things that keep me occupied. I'm kind of nose deep in YouTube. I do a lot of stuff for YouTube, Patreon, Discord, my RV channel. I go work on the RV. I got things that keep me busy without going to a town square.
Yeah. Darrison's Hanger says, do we know anyone in the Skip and Sioux tribe that is going to apply for a position at the new Hooters establishment?
They've already taken applications
residents
online.
Would be hired first, I assume.
You guys seem to think that we live in a desert somewhere, and the only people that can work here are people that's over 80 years old. We have 4 or 5 major towns around us. There's college kids that live all around us here. There's all kinds of good-looking chicks that will go to work over there. Guarantee it. Yeah. You're not going to see no 75-year-old woman working over there.
We've heard all the jokes about it, but I don't think that's happening.
No.
Maybe your cook, maybe somebody that escorts you to the table, but your waitress, they've got a rule that they go by.
Or maybe a cashier or somebody like, they could do that.
Yeah, but they got rules that they go by when they hire. And
yeah. So you got to have a certain size.
But we will see.
I don't know.
Missy Mo says Chris Walker, not only the prison, but a huge power station and a treatment plant. That to me is a problem. I have a problem with the power stations. I said I have a problem with the power stations.
What power station?
Down there, all the big lines going through the fields and such.
Those lines that go through a field don't go through nobody's yard. No, they go. That's all part of the utility.
I know in one area it goes right over the rec center.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Well, anyhow, but
because you go down to Sawgrass area, there's only one major power line that I've seen, and that's the one off to the side of Chitty Chatty that follows that creek or whatever that is over there. It's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah, well,
and like here, look around you. Look around you. How many power lines do you see here?
Yeah, and the treatment plant's usually hidden.
Oh, the poop plants?
Yeah. and they're
I
pretty
think
good about keeping them.
I think down there, all their stuff goes to Wildwood. That's why Wildwood's wanting to build that new treatment plant over there. You go north of here in Lake County or Marion County, whatever that is up there, along, was it Buena Vista or is it Morris? There's a processing plant in there, but it's well hidden.
Yeah.
But when they clean it out about once a year, you can find it pretty easy.
Yeah. But yeah, those are you do your homework when you come down here, because if you're interested or not interested in being around any of that stuff, like I said, they keep it hidden, and 9 times out of 10, the realtor is not going to tell you about it. So do your homework.
Talk to the people in the neighborhood.
Yes. Ruster says, we did our visit in August to make sure we could handle the heat and humidity. We also survived our time with Skip. We figured if we can survive all that stress on us, we can handle anything.
Yeah. I always recommend it if you can, and I know everybody really can't. You got so much vacation you can use, and sometimes people come down here, they still work, they're just planning for a retirement. If you can come down, say, in January, February, one of those 2 months, then you'll see what it looks like when all the snowbirds are here and what the traffic is. Not just here, but the snowbirds are everywhere in Florida. So the traffic is not just here, it's everywhere in Florida.
Yeah.
So you get an idea what that is, and then come down in the middle of summer when it's just hotter than blazes out here. And if none of that bothers you, you're good to go.
Yeah. Jackie Van Auken says, hi, Skip and Sue. It's snowing, and the temp here is in the 30s. Wow.
Where are you at?
Where you at, Jackie? I don't want to go there.
In the 30s?
Yeah.
She in Alaska, Canada?
I don't know.
Like a brown Pembina?
Yeah. Laura says, I deliberately visited several times in July, August, and September to experience Central Florida weather and how I would adjust. Yeah. Yeah, that's a way to do it. You know, if you can, is come down here and rent for a while. That way you can get an idea of the area and the weather. And that's what I suggest to anybody. So come down here and rent for a while. Don't go unless you find that perfect house. It's your forever home. I'd rent for a while. We should have, and we didn't.
Instead of doing a lifestyle visit, I'm not going to say anything bad about it. At that time, really, I'm not sure they even had a lifestyle visit back then. Maybe they did, and I didn't know about it. But anyway, we rented houses at the time. There was Spanish Spring Sound Square, and that was it. There wasn't nothing else. So we rented off of the original golf cart man.
In the historic section.
Yep, and he was in the historic section. And he had 6 or 7 homes over there he bought, and he rented them out. And because he was the original golf cart man, any house you rented, he gave you a golf cart. And it was just easy and convenient for us to do that. So we stayed there, I don't even know how many times, but we stayed a week at a time. Mm-hmm. And we did different months of the year. Thanksgiving was my favorite time to come down here. That's where I had my steak and lobster over there at Arnold Palmer's when they first opened it up. Mm-hmm. And then I don't even know other times. I know we came down in the summer. We had autumn with us one year. And it was hot.
We started out taking the kids to Disney, taking all the grandkids to Disney, 1 or 2 at a time. And I said we would stop here for a while.
A day or 2 to rest.
Yeah, and they loved it too. That's what clued us to this is going to be where we're going, is because they loved it too. And that was a big issue. You know, what are the grandkids going to think? But there was enough around here to keep them entertained.
Did Sue ever tell you the story about how one of our granddaughters disappeared at the square? We couldn't find her. I went to get a beer or something. I came back, and Sue says, "Where's Jessie?" She was here with you. Well, I thought Jessie was with you. We're looking around. Oh my God, where's Jessie? Well, remember, Spanish Springs was the only square, and things back then was totally different. There was no thefts. There was no any of this. And we're looking around. Well, on the other side, we had nicknames for some of these people that did line dancing. And one of them, we called her school teacher. And because she just looked like a school teacher. And there was a line of girls over there line dancing, and we just got to looking. They captured Jessie, and they were teaching her how to line dance. So I suspect Jessie went over there, because Jessie she's an outgoing kid when she was little. She probably went over there and asked them if they would teach her how to do that. And so they had her over there for, I don't even know how long they kept her over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it was back then.
Yeah. Claire May says, Ohio is a beautiful state, especially in the fall. Lived here most of my life. Ohio can get humid as well. My husband and I are ready to move to the villages soon. Well, good luck to you. I mean, we're here. And I said, you do like us. You know, we visit Indiana. And I said, we only visit in the summertime and unless it's an emergency.
The only two things that I can tell you if you're going to buy a brand new house, and I don't understand any of this myself because I'm not looking for a new house, so I don't keep up with the rules. Two things. One is I'm on my Discord. There's people on there that's wanting to build a new house, and it has something to do with the realtor, the village's realtor. That's the only ones you can use down there for a new house, and you have to get in line or get your name in a lottery system somehow, some way to see if you can get that lot. That's something that I don't understand at all. And then the other one is, Sue was telling me yesterday that if you're wanting to have Patio Villa or something like that, maybe other houses too, I don't know. She said the price of them villas down there came down where they're cheaper than to buy a pre-owned up north.
And I said, some of them are because they don't have everything done to them, just like this house.
Well, that's true, but I'm just saying if a guy wants to come down, he's on kind of a budget, he can buy a brand new one.
Yeah. But
now you're going to get a bond.
I was looking at the paper at the, they call them garden villas. They're not patio villas, they're garden villas. And you can get a 3-bedroom, but like I said, they've got the wrought iron fence in between. You know how the courtyard villas have a fence in between you and the neighbor? Well, these have the black wrought iron fence, and it just looks so much classier. But like I said, I looked at the prices of it.
Buddy's done lost his Chewy thing somewhere.
No, I don't know. Probably on the
here it is. I'm sitting on it. Here.
But like I said, when we looked at the price of them, the prices are the same or more than what a designer home is. But they are cute. I said, I love that black wrought iron. I thought that looked really nice. But it is just a villa, so.
Didn't you tell me though that some of the villas down there now are 3-bedroom?
Yeah, I have never heard of that. Villas are 3 bedrooms.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Patio villas and courtyard villas years ago were all 2 bedrooms. There was no 3.
Well, they've since changed that.
But I know I've seen down there when they were building the Finney area. That's the first time I saw 2 different kind of patio villas I never saw before. One of them had a golf cart garage, and then I seen another patio villa down there that had a 2-car garage.
Well, I was going to show you in the paper today a picture of those garden villas. That's because they're really cute the way they've got them made.
What villa was that we looked at that had tons of cabinet space in it?
Moonstone.
Moonstone? They had more cabinet space in that villa than we got in this house here.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Racer Girl says, Craig Vernon, I agree. Ira Miller is a great realtor. He's honest, has 29 years experience with the villages. He's also a contractor and used to have an inspector license. Yeah, and we believe in Ira. We do. Great guy, and he's a heck of a realtor.
He can tell you things.
Yeah.
He knows. Matter of fact, I know one person that was looking to buy a house, and they contacted Ira, and Ira, without even going looking at it, he already knew where the house was at. He told him straight out, he said, you really don't want to buy there, and he told him why. And the person that was looking at it had no idea that what Ira was telling him, they didn't have no idea. Well, Ira knew. And he said, if you want it, he said, I can negotiate the best price I can get. He said, but here's the deal. And he told them, and so they backed out of the deal.
Yeah, I&M Realty. You can't go wrong. He's an honest guy. And
he's one of my sponsors. Matter of fact, he's one of my sponsors on the Patreon channel. Either this week or next week, I can't remember when, on the thank you scroll for Patreon members and stuff for supporting, his little company signal will be on there.
Yeah, and I said, you just couldn't want a nicer guy. Overjoyed says, who wants to live near school noise? Well, something I noticed when we were down there in Middleton the other day was the town of Middleton is right next to the high school, but the residents are on the other side of the highway, if that makes sense. So they're not actually near the school. I mean, they're close, but not that close. And like, so it's a little bit different design. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be next to the school.
And also, I don't know the rules. You need to call. You just can't say, I'm coming down with my kids and I'm going to buy in that family neighborhood. It don't work that way. There are specific rules that will allow you to live in that neighborhood. And I don't know what the rules are. Used to be, years ago, that in order to live in a family neighborhood, you had to work for the villages to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Today, I don't know, but you just want to check on that.
Well, and the waitress we had the other day, when you were talking to her, she said that she wanted to be in there because she wanted her kid to go to that school, but she wasn't. Something about she didn't get the okay or something. I don't.
Well, she said that, I said, well, you have to work for, I told her, I thought you had to work for the Villages. Well, she's working at this restaurant. The restaurant is in the Villages. But she said, I am working for the Villages. I said, no, you're working for this restaurant owner. He rents the building maybe from the Villages, but you have to work for the Villages.
And I said, I don't know the exact rules about that, but
I don't either. So just double check on that. And the reason why we keep telling you to double check is because they change stuff here all the time.
yeah.
And just because they change things, listen, they don't send me a letter in the mail saying, hey, by the way, we made this change over here. We don't know anything.
Yeah. And Wrestlers is overjoyed. Some people love to go to high school plays and sporting events, etc. It's a cheap day out. Yeah, and I love the Tracy down there at the high school. The Tracy Performing Arts Center is it's a great place, and they're getting some big names down there now, which I'm just I'm really glad. During COVID, we got your second best everything because the big names were not coming out in the public, but now they're getting the big names now, and some of them are just phenomenal when you think about the ones. If you're not used to being around a big city like New York City or California, where you see those kind of things all the time, then to have it so close, to be right here in your neighborhood, it's phenomenal. It really is.
Yeah, but I think that the entertainment department down there is, they're really running kind of a little slim on entertainment they can book. They got to fill slots, or the new generation is trying new things. Because there's been a lot of complaints here lately on a couple of shows.
Oh, and Missy Mo says they also have cut the quality on the recreation centers in Eastport. I
They kept what?
Cut the quality on the recreation
They
center.
did?
That's what she
I've
said.
never been to the rec center down there, so I really don't know.
Well, we've been to Finney, but
I think he's talking Eastport.
well, Eastport doesn't have any open, I don't think.
Well, I don't know. That's what I said. I've never been to any. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've been in the Finney Recreation Center down there, and it's fabulous.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Rachel Girl says, my uncle was a Teamster at the Numi car plant, now Tesla. I'm an IBEW member, 31 years. Me too. I worked for RCA, so I was IBEW. Jerry Bell says, Eastport is a square and regional rec center, the only one like this. Huh.
The thing about Eastport.
Oh, I understand what you're saying now. It's a square and a regional rec center.
No. Are we talking about the square? The square is not a rec center.
Well.
What Kevin was telling me, Kevin Jacks, and he knows a little bit about down there. He said it's the only square in all the villages where the high school sporting events and the rec centers and stuff surrounds the square. Everything's around the square. And if that's true, that's true, because I don't know of any square that does that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think they got a whole lot open. They do have the doctor's offices down there. Like I said, because Jose's wife, she got to move down there to one of the doctor's offices, so they got that open. I think maybe they got a bank open, but it's not. They've not got enough down there for me to really go down and check it out. Now Middleton's a little bit different, but Eastport, they're still in the process of building. So, and Mark C wants to know if Buddy's scared of thunderstorms. He doesn't seem to be scared of thunderstorms, but he's scared of riding in the car. And I actually, I actually got the CBD pills somebody told me about, and I was gonna have him try them out before we did the show today, because sometimes he's kind of rangy. Not today. He seemed to be doing pretty good today.
Except early this morning, he was full of piss and vinegar first thing this morning.
But like I said, the thing is, I couldn't get him to take it. I tried to give it to him. He wouldn't take it. I put it in his food. He wouldn't take it. I put him in some cereal that he likes. Some of the cereal that Skips eats, I put it in there. He wouldn't eat it. So, I'm going to have to figure out another way to get it to him, because he just won't have anything to do with him. He's very, very picky. Imagine that. Oh.
Yeah, he's a funny dog.
East Coaster says, with the prison close by, they won't have far to take me. Well, hopefully you don't have to go there.
ever since they started building them houses even down there, there's only been one incident that I can even recall. And it wasn't even an incident that involved anybody in the villages whatsoever. Was I can't remember the guy's name. You can go back and Google it. I reported on one of the news channels that there was a guy that if I remember right, he was a hitman for the mafia, like up in Philadelphia or something. And they sentenced him to life in prison or something. Anyway, he's right down there at Coleman, or he was. He was on some kind of a good behavior work program they give you after you're there for who knows how long, where you can go outside, mow the grass. And I'm sure them guys would do anything just to get outside for a little while. And so he was on one of them details. Well, at the end of the day, when those guys are done and they got to go back inside, they did a head count. They were one guy shy. So right away, they let everybody know, and the cops are everywhere just looking for these people. We seen helicopters flying around. Now, they're not bothering anybody, but we just noticed at night, what's the helicopter doing? That's not normal here. Well, come to find out, they're looking for this guy. They finally got the guy back, like I'll say a couple days later, and he was in Miami. Now, how he got to Miami that quick after walking away, it ain't like the guy had a car. I don't know. But, yeah, they found him. They brought him back. But that's the only instance that I can even think of.
Yeah. Wrestler says, Mark, Buddy is fine with thunderstorms. Skip gets really nervous, though.
Yeah, I get nervous.
Yeah. Chris says, Skip, are you guys closer to Sumter Landing or Brownwood?
Brownwood's, I get the golf cart in 8 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I can be
we're
downtown
walking distance to Brownwood.
She used to walk to Brownwood and get me donuts every morning. She doesn't do that anymore. She doesn't like me anymore.
Oh, my
Matter of fact, when was the last time I had a donut? Last time we traveled. Where did I get the donuts? We went to Indiana. Didn't I get donuts somewhere?
I don't remember.
Or it's been so long that I've lost the taste of donuts.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's the only time I ever eat a donut is if we're traveling. But
I haven't had a donut in a long time. I miss them. I like good fresh.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme is, well, we went out west at El Paso. We stayed at a hotel there somewhere. And in the parking lot of that hotel was a Krispy Kreme factory.
Oh, yeah.
And we went over there one morning. We didn't even see it when we first got there.
But you could smell it.
You could smell it.
You could smell it.
We went outside and we're looking, and I said, oh, look here. There's a donut place. Let's go over here. We went inside, and there's this Krispy Kreme factory making donuts right there. And you could order your coffee, order whatever you want. They had tables. They brought them over to you. The donuts were still warm.
Yes. Those were good. Yeah.
How come we don't have a Krispy Kreme factory place here?
Well, and somebody was telling us that they did. Where were they? It's down toward Orlando. I think Jose was telling us he was down there and he happened to see one.
I told him I'm not driving to Orlando to get a donut.
But I've heard Donut King or Icy King.
I have heard Donut King is good, and it probably is, but it's in Leesburg, I think, and I don't even know where it's at.
Yeah, Chris Welker says, Skip, can you enter the RV storage 24 hours?
Yeah, I have 20. But I'll tell you, you have to tell them. I'm going to say, you probably don't, but they sold that place from the original guy to these people here that's got it now. And we were traveling somewhere, and I had my car on the dolly in the back, and we were coming back. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And I punched in my code. The gate don't open. I punched in my code.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, like 3 o'clock in the morning. The gate don't open. And so there's a phone number that says for emergency entrance or whatever, call this number. I called the number half a dozen times.
It was a Sunday night.
Yeah, nobody answers the phone. Yeah. Now, I can't back up because I got the car on a dolly. You can't back up. So I have to go back there. I had to unload the car, back it off into the grass, and then back my dolly up into the grass. I told Sue, I said, just follow me to the house. And I brought the dolly and everything to here. And then I called him the next day, and I told him what happened. And she says, you're locked out on the computer. I said, why am I locked out? She said, the new owner locks everybody out, or locks the computer thing, or whatever you want to call it, at I think it was after midnight. So nobody can get in after midnight. I said, that's BS. I said, for the money I'm paying, I want access 24/7 because I may want to come over. I like to come home at 3 o'clock in the morning when there's no traffic. I want to be able to get in there. She said, well, I'll put that on the computer. So, and I haven't had a problem since, but I'm just saying, if you're going to rent over there and if you want 24-hour access, just make sure that it's on that computer.
Yeah. Kimberly Franklin says Hooters filed bankruptcy.
That doesn't mean anything. Why do you guys keep worrying about Hooters filing bankruptcy? You know, Outback over here filed bankruptcy about the same time Hooters did, and nobody complains about that. Nobody brings it up, but it's always about Hooters bankruptcy. And the Outback just opened a new one right over here.
Well, they actually closed the other one and opened this one
Right,
here.
but they filed bankruptcy. Oh my
Yeah,
God!
But they do that to reorganize.
They reorganize. It's a corporate money game. I don't know of a painting contractor that doesn't file bankruptcy like every 7 years.
Clara May says, I understand, Skip, I can do without the town squares.
I don't have nothing against them. I don't go down there much because I pretty much put most of my time in making YouTube videos the best that I can. And when you go down to the squares, I can't post them videos because of the music. I mean, I can, but I have to take that music out and put new music in. And let me tell you, when you dub music in, you're watching the music and you're watching people dance. You think, well, they're not even keeping in time with music. I mean, look, and so I just quit doing it.
Yeah. Mr. Rizzo says, my wife is thinking about coming out of retirement. Oh, for Hooters?
Oh, good luck. Because I'm taking a W&L crew, and we're going over there because I just want to take everybody over there for the heck of it and do a couple of videos. If they'll let me do it inside, they may not, but if they will, I'm going to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have some of their great chicken wings, because if those Hooters are here, which I don't know why they'd be any different, but I can remember going to Hooters in Las Vegas, and we went to Hooters, me and you went to Hooters in Orlando when they first opened it. Great chicken wings.
And then people say that and everybody laughs, but it's the truth.
I just go for the chicken wings. I could care less about them girls. And I had my picture. Well, you did it. I didn't really want to.
Yeah. I took a picture so we could send it to our son to show him, that Dad was at Hooters.
Look here, Dad's at Hooters.
Yeah, Skippy says so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the big deal?
Yeah. Janet B says, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath courtyard villa in Fernandino coming up for short-term rental, 1 to 6 months.
What?
Okay, well,
Where's it at?
y'all, if you're looking for
This?
a rental, a short-term rental, why, contact Janet B. Don't contact us. Contact Janet B.
I don't rent homes, but I'll advertise them for you, but I don't rent them.
Rest of them says some people who visit the villages think it's too big for them, but most people spend most of their time in their own area anyway. Yeah, they do.
That is true. People are always saying, well, can I go here? Can I go there? When you're a village resident, once you got that resident card, you can go anywhere in the villages you want to. You do not have to go to the pool closest to your neighborhood. I could go down to, where do they open up that pool down there where they have rentals down there? What's that called?
The lofts.
The lofts.
Mm-hmm.
I can go down to the lofts that's on village property and use that card to get in there, and I can go use that pool down there if I want to.
Yeah.
I can use any pool I want. Don't let anybody tell you can't be here because this is our pool. No, it doesn't work that way. Actually, I don't know anybody's ever had an argument like that at all. I'm just letting you know that you can go anywhere.
Anna Marie says Water's Edge Recreation is close to a power line. Okay, that's a good thing to know.
Could be its new area. I'm not familiar with those areas down there at all.
I think that's the newest, and then the next one is going to be Saint something. I think.
Saint something?
I don't know exactly.
You mean
what it
like
is.
a Catholic name, like Saint Mary, the village of Saint Mary,
the
village of Saint Paul,
I don't know.
the village of Saint Smith,
I don't know.
the village of Saint Skip.
Kimberly Franklin says, "Where will they be in 3 years? That's when I'm retiring."
Oh shoot, who knows? But they got enough property now that I reported that like 2 or 3 years ago because it was in the paper. It's nothing I made up. They had enough property that as of right now, at today's building speed, how many homes that they're building a month, they had enough property for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
So you ain't gonna
And
run.
when they get done with the building that they've got right now on the books, they've got okayed for, it will double the size of the villages.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of housing.
And then there was a rumor for a long time. Don't know if any of this is true. I could almost believe it, but I'll be long gone. I don't have to worry about it. That when they're done here, that they're already working on property in Texas to do this there.
Yeah. Now, that might be a rumor.
It could be just a rumor.
You know.
Rumors run wild around here.
Oh, yeah. Rosemary Laptop says, "Morning, folks. Just dropping in now." Well, where you been? We've been here a while. Healthy Home Cooking is ramping up on her pole dancing exercises so she can get a key position at the new Hooters when we move down. She's retired. She don't want to do that.
She'll do what he tells her to do. He's the boss.
Oh, you think that too? Oh, that's cute. Let's see. Cindy G says, my nightmare is about to end. My father's house goes up for sale next week. Good, good, good. And I said, you can.
Where's her father's house at? Cindy G.
Yeah.
I don't know where she lives. I forget.
Yeah, I can't keep track of all of
I
them.
want to say Philadelphia, but I know I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't blame anybody for getting the hell out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Filthy-delphia.
Laura Lampy says, does water bottle lady still line dance at the squares? I saw her several times last year. She is tall and always has a water bottle with her when she line dances. She's been there since we first came.
I was going to say, she's been here forever. I think she's a lot older than what she looks. Just saying.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, she's been doing that since we started coming here.
If you guys don't know who she's talking about, you'll see her on different videos on YouTube channel. I think I got a couple of videos of her. She's like over 6 foot tall. She's really tall, really long legged, and she does line dancing, but she does it with a style. Everything is with a style.
And it's like she was born to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know, maybe she teaches it. Maybe that's why
she does. I don't know that much about it.
But usually her and a girl we used to nickname school teacher, it's a group. They're always there together.
Yeah. Well, and I said, she's still here. She's seen her last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that a bit. And they go to different squares. I thought maybe they went to different squares just to be able to see different people. No. I found out that there's a cult. They like to follow certain bands because they like to line dance to that music. And so wherever that band's playing, that's the square they're going to be at.
Cult. But
well, yeah, a cult. You know, like people that followed Elvis, they called that a cult because they followed Elvis no matter what. Matter of fact, Tom Sandy's ex-wife, Jean, she's like Dean Martin cult thing. She thinks Dean Martin was like the cat's meow, man. She thought...
And she would use that word.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but she would. And when Rizzo says, Laura Lampy, water bottle Annie. Yes. So y'all have seen her. It wasn't just us.
Oh, no. She's been around for a long time.
She stands out. You know, she stands out because I said the dancing to her is just, it's very smooth, just like she's been doing it all her life.
I think she has.
Well, she may have, yeah.
I've been coming here for 25 years, and I think she's been here ever since.
Yeah. Rosemary Laptop says, Skip is right. It's much cheaper to buy a new home over a resale. The bond brings the price up to more an even playing field.
That's the problem. You have a bond. That bond is really an issue. But on a patio villa, I don't know what the bond is.
Yeah.
I know in some of the new houses down there, they say it was up to $50,000, but
yeah,
it's not that high.
Depending on what kind of house
it's not that high on a patio villa.
Yeah. Kathy B in the 603 3-bedroom patio villas usually don't have a lanai. Oh, okay.
What?
So the 3-bedroom.
Why would you not have a lanai?
Well, because it's got 3 bedrooms.
So they take the lanai and turn it into a bedroom?
Evidently.
It must be a small bedroom.
Yeah.
A bedroom for your.
I did not notice that, Kathy.
A bedroom for your dog.
Clara May says, we have seen those garden villas. They look classy. Love the wrought iron fences. I do too. Just give it a look, you know. I mean, it wasn't the courtyard villas are nice, and you like the idea of the fenced-in area in the back.
I do.
But like I said, with that wrought iron gate, it just makes a really big difference in the looks of the place. I
think the big thing about a courtyard villa for me, especially now we got Buddy, it'd just be nice to be able to walk in the backyard and not have to worry about putting him on a chain. Because Buddy don't listen. She says he does not. If he takes off over there, you can yell to the cows come home. He's got one thing on his mind, and he don't hear you at all. Where if you had a courtyard villa, he can't do that.
Yeah. But, you know, I don't recommend that you let your dog out in a courtyard villa.
No, I'm talking about if you was to go outside and work with the flowers, you wouldn't have to worry about having Buddy on the leash. That's what I'm talking about.
That would be a big plus right there. Because I have to fasten him to something when I come out here. Because, well, for one, he don't mind. I have a plastic playpen for him. But like I said, a snake got in it. And ever since then, I ain't put the thing up. It just scared me.
Yeah, that's it. We'll put the dog pen out here, and she's afraid of the snake. Oh, look, a dog pen. I got to go get in that.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't want the dog in there with a snake.
Did I tell you there was a snake out here yesterday? Or the day before yesterday?
And I know there's snakes here in the bushes.
Well, they're coming out. They've been gone for all winter, but now they're starting to come out.
Well, I noticed the one back there in the big.
That's probably the same one.
Yeah. But, and that bird was chasing.
Yeah, and birds. There's a red bird here. I don't know what they are, and I hate them back there because they flipped all my mulch out back there now. There's nothing left back there because that's all they do. They go around, they flip all this stuff out. And she was saying that red bird would hobble down them privacy bushes back there, and she noticed that wherever that red bird went, that snake was in them bushes right there.
Yeah.
So I said, well, the animals ain't stupid. That snake is chasing lizards. Geckos. That's what they're chasing. That bird will eat them things too. So whenever that snake gets them geckos running around, that bird's getting his snacks.
Yeah, and I would have thought the bird would be afraid of the snake.
Well, he probably wouldn't want to go up and play with it, but at the same time, he's getting food.
Well, he was following right along behind where that snake was. That kind of surprised me. And Laura says, Cindy G, hope your dad's house sells fast. Yes, we're wishing you luck on that, and that way you can get down here quicker. Yes. Wrestler says, question for Skip. Did you ever figure out why the live stream stopped last week? Did the equipment overheat like we suspected?
I have no idea. I don't know if maybe because things have been kind of wonky for the last couple of months around here, really. Sometimes my cell phone, I'll have 3 bars. Other days, I'll pick it up and I got 1. I mean, it's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah. But I think, I think because of where the sun was when it went out, I think it probably did overheat.
I don't know. It's just an iPad. iPads are, I think, pieces. Well, POS. iPads. If there's any way I can figure out a nice, quick, easy way of doing it like this with something else, I'm going to do it.
Rosemary Laptop says, I met Ira last year. He really does know his stuff, and he's friendly too. He is, and over the years he's become a friend. But like I said, and I'm usually surprised every time I see him because there's always something that he says that talks about himself that I didn't know about, and I for some reason in my head especially watching his videos, and he's got one of these voices that is very even toned that can put you to sleep.
Bueller.
Yeah.
Bueller.
And then I learned he was a surfer dude. Never would have thought that.
The thing that gets me is he's a rock band nut.
Yeah, like I said,
he likes going to concerts. Can you see Ira at a concert?
Yeah, but like I find something new every time I meet him.
He's probably watching. He's probably thinking, well, he's making fun of me.
Yeah.
I am Ira.
But he is very knowledgeable, and like I said, he's honest as day and long, and that's important, especially when you're spending this kind of money here.
Yeah, I only recommend people that I know. I only recommend contractors that I've worked with. I can't even begin to tell you how many people this wants me to put up a commercial form or a sponsorship form, and I just tell them thank you, but no thank you. I don't think it fits. I got one just yesterday. There's a company somewhere wanted me they wanted to call me and work out a deal for me to push their products for making beer. And I just told them, I said, well, I don't think making beer is a good fit for my channel, but I do know that I thought a beer making and a wine making club here. Mm-hmm. I said, I don't know the number. I said, but Google it. I said, I think that'd be a better fit for you. Call that company.
Yeah.
So I just don't like the idea of recommending something to you guys. And then if it doesn't work out, who are you going to blame? Who you going to blame?
Ghostbusters. Let's see. Bad Karma says the cheapest garden villa is $438,405. Yeah, like I said, I was surprised at the price of them.
I don't even know what a garden villa is.
Well, that's the ones with the wrought iron fence. It looks like a courtyard villa, but instead of the plastic fence, it's got a wrought iron fence in between the two houses.
But it is a patio villa?
Yeah, it's it's villa. I don't know
for
the exact
400-some thousand for a patio villa?
Well, but some of them are three bedroom.
Damn, we sold our patio villa for 190.
Well,
I thought I did good.
The one that they had on sale last week, it had a pool, and it was almost 600.
Then it must be the lots you're buying, really, more than anything.
Yeah.
Because most patio villas don't have a yard big enough for that.
Yeah.
Pools.
Ron 58 says, got to leave early today. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you guys next week. Well, bye, Ron. See you later. Laura says, what happened with the drone pilots being told not to fly over the villages and post videos?
They're flying.
Well, I said it kind of got quiet all at once.
It's because listen, I got my ideas about what's going on there. I really can't say on here because I can't prove anything, but I got my ideas of what's going on there. But the only thing I can tell you is I simply told one of those drone pilots that called me. I said, tell a developer's lawyer to send you a court order about not flying. I said, you're never going to get it. I said, so if I was you, and I'm not you, I would keep flying and I would force the issue. Take me to court because they're not going to do it because they have no control over the airspace whatsoever. That is under FAA's control.
Yeah. Restless is not sure what happened with the drone pilot issue, but YouTube creators are flying again like Papa Pineapple.
Yeah, Papa Pineapple just put out one, so I know they're flying again.
Yeah. So, but and I said, I wasn't sure what was going to happen because from what I understand, the airspace at Disney is restricted. So I wasn't sure they couldn't do that here.
Here's why he can do that. They get his lawyers, they go to FAA and they apply. How do you do it? I don't know. But they can apply for protected airspace, probably temporary. So we don't want nobody flying in this area because we got people working here. Okay, let's say they give them that temporary restriction. Here's what the problem is. The developer likes to fly his helicopter around down there to check on things and see how things are looking. That also means he won't be able to fly his helicopter down there. So that's why he'll never do that.
Yeah, so, but Rita and Ray said the way the Villages is growing now, and if you came down to buy, would you still buy here?
Me?
Yeah. We are thinking of a gated over 55. Just their thoughts on this.
Listen, what I would do is it shouldn't affect you at all. It's all about what you want. If you come here, you look around, you like the lifestyle, you buy here, you're happy here, that's all well and good. I was here when it was small. I kind of liked the idea of a smaller area because it was less trouble. Everything was just easier. And now that it's so big, I almost feel like I could have retired in Indianapolis and stayed where I was at, where I had my own house because it's just as much traffic here as it is there. And, I used to leave Indianapolis the last week of May on vacation and come down here because I didn't want to be around when the 500-mile race started. So here I am now in the wintertime. I feel like it's 3 months of a 500-mile race.
Yeah. But, if you go to examine some of the other places, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of places around here that are the 55 places, and it depends on what you want. Like I said, to me, nothing compares to this. Because on a grand scale, this is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Also, this is what the problem is.
Yeah, because everybody likes it.
Yeah, everybody likes it. So,
it's kind of like you move out in the country because you like country life. And then you tell a friend at work that lives wherever you work at, and you say, man, you ought to build a house out there where I'm at. My neighbor's got this house for sale. It's really quiet out there. He buys that house. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to tell somebody. 5 years later, there's 1,000 people living out there where you once thought was nice and quiet. Well, that's what's happening here.
Okay, the Stooper says, we watched a new Papa Pineapple video the other night. He said the Villages wants to work with him.
The Village don't have to work with anybody, or these people don't have. You guys do whatever's good for you. I just know me. I'm a real stubborn guy, and I don't like it when somebody oversteps their bounds and tells me what I can and cannot do, or what I can and cannot say. They tried it with me before about me not saying stuff about things, and I just started talking about it even more. So.
Brad Chase says we saw Howie Mandel and John Lovitz at the Tracy, which is the
John Lovitz is funny. There's something about that guy. He doesn't really do anything, and he goes, yeah, and it's just funny as hell.
Yes, and he said it's a beautiful venue with comfortable seating, except for the orchestra pit, which has folding bridge chairs. Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought that was kind of odd.
Where?
But at the Tracy, the new Performing Arts Center at Middleton.
They don't have permanent seating?
The orchestra pit has folding chairs because they don't use them a lot of times. So
maybe they do that because they got in the future plans. They got plans on using it for other things.
Could be, but
like for the high school.
The high school uses it. I went to a concert from the high school down there.
Nothing like having a school inside a retirement community.
Wow. Carol Apostla says, "Hey everyone, please hit the thumbs up button for Skip and Sue." Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Mr. Marlin says, have you tried that CBD on Skip? Mr. Marlin, I probably have the same problem with him that I have with Buddy. He wouldn't eat it.
That ain't true. If I had a doctor's thing, and I'm not going to pay for it, I think Tommy told me his was like $600 for a year to get this doctor's thing for medical marijuana, which I don't smoke. I wouldn't smoke it. But, the lemon drops, the gummy bears, or whatever else that stuff, I'd probably do it. Yeah. I wouldn't drive and do it, but I could sit in my room in there and do my videos and stuff because that gets really, especially the news, that gets so stressed out in there sometimes. I have to pick and choose stuff, and I'm leaving a lot of stuff out that I think you guys really should see, but I don't want to make the news too damn long, and so I leave stuff out. I get all stressed out, and so I drink beer, or I get a glass of wine, or if I had a gummy, I'd pop that baby.
Well, I might have to sneak it into your wine.
Well, you ain't got the doctor's thing.
Yeah.
This is funny. I had to have a doctor's thing to go get a little bit of what they call it. It's not marijuana, actually. What is it? It's in marijuana, that the relaxing stuff that people really
CBD.
Is it CBD stuff? Okay. But yet, I can go get marijuana for the dog.
But the CBD has the bad stuff taken out. It's supposed to calm you down, but it doesn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Then what would calm him down if they take it out?
I said it'll calm you down, but you won't be hallucinating.
I don't think marijuana makes you hallucinate anyway.
I don't know all that because I don't do any of that. I don't know that much.
I used to go down with Tommy. Tommy gave me some of his brownies.
Yeah. Laura Lampy says Whitey Bulger was from Boston, was in Coleman prison. I think he got transferred to another prison and got whacked. Yeah,
is that the guy that?
Yeah, he didn't escape. He got transferred to another prison and
no, he did escape, and they got him. They caught him. I know that for facts.
Oh, okay.
The mafia guy escaped, or he walked off actually, and then they had to go get him.
Okay. Miss Vicky says nothing better than hot Krispy Kreme donuts. Yes, they were wonderful.
Heart healthy, aren't they?
Wrestler says, Skip, I heard vegan donuts are very good for you.
I ain't eating that crap, you guys.
That's funny.
That is so nasty.
Do you know what a vegan donut is?
Doesn't make any difference.
Well,
I know that they make bread out of like wheat and all this other all kinds of crap. I just want regular bread. I don't want this fancy stuff. And as fancy as I get with bread, and I do prefer this, but I don't need it. Is like I had breakfast one time at a truck stop. Believe this or not, back when truck stops were really truck stops, and the waitress asked me if I wanted my bread trimmed. I said, "What?" Because I wasn't sure what she's talking about.
Didn't your mother ever cut the crust off?
No.
Your bread?
She said, "Do you want me to cut the crust off the outer edges of the bread?" She said, "A lot of people don't like that."
Yeah. I bet she got a lot of.
So I looked at her and I go, "Why not?" And so I got my eggs and bacon with bread that had the crust cut off of it, and I thought, well, I feel kind of fancy.
Racer Girl says, "I've never had a Krispy Kreme." Well, honey, when they were just an entity where they didn't sell them wholesale to anybody, they were wonderful everywhere. But now you can get them sometimes in gas stations and grocery stores, and you know that they've been sitting, and so you're not guaranteed of a good one. But if you get to a factory where you can get them warm,
yeah, you want to go to the Krispy Kreme factory.
Yeah, they are the best. And I used to think that about Saps and Dunkin' Donuts.
They had them in Anderson.
Yeah, and they're all different now because I said they do it for everybody. And
that's an old name right there, Saps Donuts. My mom, right next to Delco Ramey where my dad worked, and on Saturday, because Saps wasn't open all week long. It was open like 1 or 2 days a week, like maybe Friday and Saturday. And Mom would go up there and get a big box of what mixed, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And in this box might have been 48 donuts or so. It was a mixture of stuff. And I can remember those. And then Dunkin' Donuts in Anderson had a factory. And in the back room is where they made everything. And they would bring them out and put them in the shelves. They were always warm and good. And every Anderson police officer had coffee and donuts. And I'm not making a joke.
They stayed open 24 hours.
They stayed open 24 hours. And I used to plow snow in the wintertime, and I could go buy Saps. And when I'd stop and get a bag of donuts and a cup of coffee to go, there was always a dozen cops in there eating donuts and drinking coffee.
Yeah. Laura says Larry Nassar, convicted in the U.S. gymnastics team abuse scandal, was at Coleman Federal Prison and got beaten pretty badly there. Yes. Yeah, that was one. He didn't get out, but he got beaten up pretty good. Got to be in the 603 says Donut King is near Ski Beach. Oh, okay.
I know where Ski Beach is.
Yeah.
Well, I really don't. Sue knows where it's at. I've been there once, though. I had my birthday there.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I always heard about Donut King being good. And also there's an Icy King, I think. But they've always talked about how good the donuts are.
Everybody talks to me about Donut King. Like, that's the place.
Mark Spann says, hello from Burleson, Texas, from Mark and Terry. Cloudy and 80 right now. Well, that's, that it's probably at least 80 here. We don't have a cloud in the sky. It's a blue sky. We got a breeze going through. I'm glad it didn't get any worse. Because I said last couple of days, I said in the evening we used to have some pretty brisk wind, and then somebody a while ago said they had a 50-mile-an-hour wind. I don't want that. But we used to complain about Texas every year when we get down there in March, and it seemed like their wind never quit. And of course, we were near the ocean or near the coast, but it just seemed like the wind just never let up. And but like I said, this year's been that way here. Chris Walker says, "How much is the RV storage per month?"
Depending on what you get, I don't know what the exact prices are. You can call them. There's more than one RV place around here. There's gobs of them.
Yeah.
And they're all different prices depending on how. I got mine over here at Wildwood because I don't want to drive 100 miles to a storage. And you can park outside, no hookups whatsoever, for like a real cheap price. I don't know what it is, like $60 or $65 a month. You have access to the air compressor, you have access to the dump, you have access to water, and you have access to the wash bay. Well, it ain't really in a wash bay. It's a big gravel lot with a big garden hose. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you can wash your RV there.
Yeah.
If you want to be under roof, prices vary there. Do you want a 30-foot long pull through? Do you want a 40-foot long? Do you want a 50-foot long? So on and so forth. The longer, the more it costs. Do you need a 30 amp hookup? Do you need a 30 amp plus another hookup? It all adds up. I called her yesterday. I think she told me I had a 50-foot lot for me, 50-foot pull through, 30 amp hookup. And of course, I got access to everything else there. And I'm under roof. I believe in if you're going to be here full time, you want to be under roof because the sun will just bake your RV to death. And my last bill, taxes and everything, 'cause that's what I was calling about because it went. I thought it was higher than what it should be. And anyway, it was $256 with tax and everything. And so I called her up and I said, "Hey, did they have a big, huge increase or something?" I said, "Because when I first pulled in there, it was $166." And the lady that was over there is not the full-time lady. The lady that I always talk to, she had a medical thing yesterday and she wasn't there. And she told me, she said, "You may want to call back in about a month because when the snowbirds leave," and I didn't know this, she says, "they lower the price of everything and then you can maybe get in on a cheaper price." And she said, "If you're here full-time, that price will stay with you." I'll find out. But right now I'm paying $256 a month.
Well, I know, when you got that, it was cheaper than what I thought it should have been.
It was cheaper than the short lot I had. Remember, I questioned that.
Yeah, but but they didn't say how long it was that price. So
Every year around here, because of the villages, everything goes up. I don't care what it is.
And the closer to the villages, the higher the price.
Yeah,
Because the villages actually has a lot, but there's a waiting list, always a waiting list for it.
to get in it because it's golf cart accessible.
Yeah, but I don't know what the prices are there, but you can bet.
But I also know that
they're higher.
I also know there's a limit on size. You can't put a big diesel pusher in the one at the village's lot.
Okay.
But over in the new area over there, somewhere over there, we went by a new lot over there. Now, I don't know if this place was inside the villages or just outside the villages, but it was all asphalted. I saw RVs parked in there. I seen a building in there, and I asked Jeremy about it. He said, "Oh, yeah, you can store your RVs over there. It's a new place." And they started putting them in there. He said, "But I heard they were really high." I said, "Really? Like, what are you hearing?" "Outside, no hookups, $500 a month." Well,
yeah,
that leaves me out.
Yeah, but yeah, you really have to call them because there is a lot of them around here. I know there's two right in Wildwood, but I don't have any idea of what the prices are.
Well, Linda's in that one over here behind the Spar over there. It's an inside building, and I'm sure that costs. I mean, we're not talking just covered. It's in a building.
Yeah, it's like a pole barn.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of them in there. Concrete floor. You got all the hookups in there, and it's nice. If I thought I could get in there reasonable, I'd probably pull in there.
Yeah.
But I just know that that's probably 2 and 3 times higher than what I'm paying.
Yeah, but it's kind of like right across the street from Brownwood. So,
yeah.
I think I'm not sure if Camping World is it camping not Camping World.
Lazy Days.
Yeah, Lazy Days. I thought I seen an advertisement where they were offering to house some RVs too.
I don't know. I haven't been over there. Lazy Days is a big place, so they may have something there. You have to just call around.
Yeah.
That's just where I went years ago. There was an old farmer that owned this thing. I liked the guy, and I've just been there ever since.
Yeah. And then they sold to a big company that had 2 or 3 of them. So.
They sold it to a large company that's got several of it. Well, it's sold again. The company that's got it now has storage lots around the country, and they bought it.
Yeah.
And so
Jose Diablo says, after your trip to Indiana, do you appreciate Florida more, or do you miss?
Oh my God, I couldn't wait to get back here. Really?
You missed the sun. I mean, it wasn't just the heat. It was, we really missed the sun, because you spend 2 or 3 days in those cold, dreary days, and it just kind of ruins your week, or it does mine. So yeah, we really was glad to get back here.
And I'll be honest with you, with a dog, I'm restricted to what hotel I can even go to. And I don't want to put him down, but it seems like if you got a pet, you have to take a lower quality hotel, because the higher quality hotels don't accept pets.
Yeah.
So we're at Best Western Plus, which is, kind of on the cusp of good and bad, I guess. But even at that, I have over the years, I just don't really like hotels. I just don't like them. There's just a lot of people in there that are just, I'll say, rude. They don't think about anything but themselves. They slam doors. They're in and out. I just, in my RV, I can park it, and I can usually park it where I want, and it's quiet, and nobody bothers us. And Buddy, he don't travel well anyway. Every time he heard the least little bit of noise, somebody slammed the car door outside, he's barking.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Yeah. But yeah, we was glad to get back. I mean, we love Indy. We do. Like I said, we were both born and raised around there, and it's that's home. But we were glad to get back here.
Oh, I didn't mind being in Anderson or anything like that. I mean, we knew our way around. If it was a little warmer, and if it wasn't for Buddy being so bad, I probably would have liked to hung around for a couple of days. I probably went down to Brownsburg, stopped by and seen Gene. Went out to breakfast to, where in the hell do I go for breakfast down there? I forgot already.
Oh.
Name of that restaurant.
I can't remember.
Flapjacks.
Flapjacks.
Yeah. Go down to Flapjacks, have me a good breakfast.
Go see Fat Bob.
I don't know. You probably want to show me a scar. I'm not sure I want to go see a scar.
Miss Vicky says, I love Hooters wings cooked in the 3 Mile Island sauce.
Sounds, what's that called? 3 Mile Island sauce?
Yeah.
That sounds hot.
Yeah, that sounds hot. Actually, I got the Buffalo Crispers yesterday, and they were hot. But yeah, I remember them having
I had the Southwestern egg rolls, and they were good.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna look and see if I can find it.
I can make a dinner out of just those.
Yeah.
That and a salad, I'm good.
And I like the dip them in the ranch.
I had 3 dips. She brought me 3 things. I had ranch. I think I had blue cheese, and then there was a yellowish one there, and I don't know what that was, but I tried all 3 of them. They were all good.
Yeah. Jerry wants to know if you're older or younger than you look.
That's a trick question right there. I am a lot older than I look. Is that the right answer?
Well, I don't know. Cindy says she's in Pittsburgh, so.
I look 35, right? But I'm actually much older. I'm 55.
Yeah, I think you got a passport that says that.
Actually, I made a new password yesterday. Remember the Best Western?
Yeah,
I had the new password.
Yeah,
so
Best Western had this thing going on to stay 2 nights. You get like a $50 gift certificate, and we actually stayed 4.
But they wouldn't let you have access because it was my account, they said, which I never had an account, but it's my credit card.
Yeah, I signed us up for all that crap, and
so they told me that I have to talk to this lady twice. Yes, you can tell her. Yes, you can tell her. Oh, my birthday. Oh, it's this. My phone number is that. My area code's this. Yes, you can tell her, and then hand it back to her. She comes back in. Yes, you can tell her. That's all I did, and then finally,
the first guy didn't ask any of that.
I'm talking about the girl I was talking to, and then Sue said, because she said, well, they're going to send you a thing where you have to change your password, and then give it to me so I can have access to your account. I said, well, this is stupid shit. So guess what my password is? Stupid shit.
Sailor Dude says, hello, Ralph and Stonecrest. I'm Coach sitting on the golf course while watching you porch sitting.
Hit him straight, my man. Hit him straight.
Let's see. MKM Mitch says the drone pilots were sent a letter saying that the villages didn't want to take anyone to court, just want them to be more safe when they are flying.
They're not going to take him to court because they got no case. That's what the truth of
So
it is.
flying again has commenced. Wow. Well, you'll probably hear all kinds of things. And we knew, that they kind of didn't have a leg to stand on, but they had to go through the process, I guess. Sailor Dude says couch, I meant. I said coach.
Couch.
Couch.
What
Yeah.
couch?
Well, he said, hello, I'm in Stonecrest. I'm couch sitting on the golf course while watching you porch sitting.
Couch sitting on the golf course?
That's what it says.
Or maybe he's sitting in Lanai or something, over the golf course. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Not unless he's drunk and he dug his couch out to the golf course.
And Jose Diablo says it's called being a groupie.
A groupie?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. MKM, as far as the prison is concerned, is the light at night always on and the announcements you can hear more so when wind blows? I like I said, I've not been down there when they were making any announcements or anything, so I don't know how much you could hear. I know they used to complain about the rock quarry also because they're allowed to blast so many times a year. But like I said, I've never been down there when they were making any announcements at the prison. So
I know that people's had a concern about that, but the truth is I've never heard anybody ever complain about it.
Yeah, I haven't either. Same way with the rock quarry.
I've heard about Buffalo Ridge High School over here, and people were saying don't buy anything around that high school because they have band practice and stuff out there in that football field or whatever, and you hear all that noise. But that's what they say, but I've actually never heard nobody complain about that.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people makes up these problems that don't really exist.
Yeah. A lot of times I think that's what it is. Okay. Let me see. My number thing is messed up here, so I don't know if I'm actually on live or if I'm on the replay. Yeah. Sometimes I have to redo mine for some odd reason, so I'll do that. Here we go. There we go.
I had about a half a dozen new Patreons this week, last week actually, and some of this week. I want to, welcome everybody to the Patreon page, and everybody's got your Discord link. I sent them to you, and I think on Discord, I don't get on there that much. I kind of leave it for you guys to play on Discord, but I've seen a lot of hand waves. Usually that means they welcome somebody, and so I assume most of them are on Discord now. And Discord's where you really want to be. That's where we talk about where we're going to have a lunch and meet together if you want to do it. That's where we talk about, you guys anyway, talk about home prices, who did your landscaping, who done this, who done that. Somebody the other day was asking about getting their sprinklers repaired. And I think Jose had a buddy or somebody he put on there. So that's really where the questions go. And the only people on my Discord are Patreon members. So you don't have to worry about somebody's kid getting on a computer and harassing you. It ain't happening on Discord.
Yeah. Laura says, I would not leave my doggy unattended in the back of a courtyard villa. No, and I tell this to people, even the ones that have the electric fence. I would not leave an animal out there without me
not
being
an electric
there.
fence. It's the, what they call them when they bury it. That's not electric fence. That's called something. Invisible fence. Electric fence is ones that's got the wire and it'll shock you.
What do you think an invisible fence is?
It doesn't shock you. There's a whole report about that. This thing that you put on a car door vibrates very fast. It feels kind of like an electric shock, but you can't do that because that's animal cruelty.
But like I said, either way, I would not leave an animal out without me being out there, because if your animal might not be able to get out, but other animals can get in.
Not in the courtyard villa. How they get in?
Well, like I said, we seen a video the other day of an alligator climbing a fence.
There ain't no fence in a courtyard villa. It's a brick wall.
They can climb a fence. They can climb a brick wall.
No, a fence has got holes in it. They can get their claws in there and get a hold of it.
Well, I wouldn't take that chance with my baby.
Well, no, I wouldn't leave it out there anyway because there's other animals like coyotes, eagles. Eagles will get your dog.
Yeah, especially little ones. Yeah.
So
those hawks
my point was, Sue goes out here and she messes in a flower bed all the time. And so she got Buddy. It's funny to watch. She's got Buddy wrapped tied to a chair. Then she has Buddy in the backyard. She'll stick a screwdriver in the ground and put the leash over that.
That doesn't work anymore.
Well, I'm just saying, and then so she does that. Where if we had a courtyard in the villa, which I'm not saying I'm getting one, I'm saying the nice thing about him is if the gate's shut and everything, she can go back there and mess with her flowers and not have to worry about him getting out.
Right, and that's what I thought about having the little plastic fence. But like I said, then when I seen the snake in it, and I haven't used it since. That's just me. But Joy Hudo says, "Hey, Skip and Sue, late to the party, but
Joy Hudo."
Did you have a good time the other day, Joy? I think we had a good group, and
she came down there, didn't she? Down to what's the name of that place again?
Victory.
Yeah. Can't remember the name of that place.
Yeah, and then food was good, and they had a space for us, and we had a good time. And then afterwards, I think Skip and Brad Shea sit at the bar for another 2 or 3 hours.
Me and Jose and Brad.
Yeah, Jose was there too.
How that started was we go outside, and Sue's standing there talking to Brad's wife, and she says, "Hey, you want to hang around here for a little bit? We're going to go across the street at this open store over here, and we're going to shop over there and see what's over there." And I'm thinking, oh, my God. Okay, fine. So I told Jose and them, I said, let's go up here at the bar and get a beer on me. I said, well, they're going to go shopping. So we'll just sit here until they get back. And that's how that happened.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say the new store's mustard seed decor, home decor, and I just wanted to see what they had. So we were only in there 5-10 minutes. And I said, but the guys got their beer and they got to yak, so that was good. Marisha Girl says the new model villas are called garden villas. Yes. And that's the one with
I've never seen them.
With the black water. And they are, it just makes a good look. I mean, they're not that much different than all the rest of them, but it just makes a good look.
Well, I will say one thing about the villages and their plantings here is most of the homes, I don't care what neighborhood you go to, they all have a good look. Some of them are a little different than other looks, but we was talking last night and I told Sue, and we came through a lot of the older areas up north. Bel Air was one. I don't remember all of them. Not Belglade. Where do they have the coach houses? What's that area called? The country clubs there. They have the coach houses.
Oh, okay.
They're never for sale.
That's Glenview.
Glenview. That whole area up there is designed different than most areas down here. And I told her, I said, I really kind of like these areas up here a lot. I do.
Yeah. Denise Kell says, hi, folks, heading to the villages tomorrow, coming from South Carolina, or California. Oh.
Coming from California. Are you driving or flying? That's a long drive.
Yeah, probably flying. Well, welcome. Come on down. Anne Marie says, I can hear the high school when they have games in their stadium, and I'm near Marsh Bend and Shady Brook. Wow. Well, it must be pretty loud.
Yeah, I don't know. That school down there, see, that I've been down there, and that's a big football field. That's the biggest school they have here. There's more than one school here, and that's the biggest one they have here.
Well, that's where they took all the high schools down there.
Yeah, and I will say, after looking around down there, it's a massive area, and it's very well done. The football field was just fabulous looking.
Oh, yeah. It's better than most colleges. It's really, really something. Elaine Skursky says, the only thing I can use to get pills in my pup is Velveeta cheese. I never thought of that. I don't have any Velveeta. I've got some regular Colby, and I eat a lot of pepper jack. And I said, he
won't eat nothing driving down the road.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, to give him a pill.
I don't know. Buddy's kind of funny. He'll smell it. He'll look at it. I'm telling you, he's a damn it. I try to give him food sometimes that I know he eats. He'll look at it. He just backs up and stands there and looks at you. He will not eat it until you lay it on the floor. I don't know.
Want it out of your hands. I know I've got to watch if I put lotion on. I've got to watch it. My hands don't smell like that lotion because he won't eat it. But yeah, it's just really. I say you don't eat until evening anyhow. No matter how soon you put it out there, he'll eat it in the evening, and that's about it. But yeah, I just keep thinking, And I know they've got some things that you put pills in. I don't know what they're called now, but I've seen them.
M&Ms.
Chewy. Huh?
M&Ms.
No, not M&Ms. But anyhow, we'll figure it out. You know, if nothing else, we'll figure it out. Because I have never met a dog that didn't like hot dogs, and he don't like hot dogs. Every once in a while, he might take a piece of one, but very seldom. And that's what I've always done is I always put it in a piece of hot dog, and I've always got all the dogs to take it, but not Buddy. Yeah. Laura says my suburb in suburban Chicago has 4 cannabis dispensaries, recreational, legal in Illinois for 5 years. And we have them around here, actually.
Yeah, we don't have no such thing as legal. You have to have a doctor's thing to get any kind of cannabis from a dispensary here. Yeah. This ain't California. You just can't walk in and say, I want a grocery bag full of this. Yeah. It doesn't work that way.
And Anne Marie says marijuana is one reason why I went out of New York. Too many folks in my area drive high.
Well.
Yeah, and that's a shame, you know, because they make it for something that seems like it's not too much of a problem. They make it a problem, which once they do that, then there'll have to be more rules and regulations. So it's like drinking and driving. I mean, it's okay to drink now, but
not drive.
But too many people get in the car and drive.
Well, it'd be the same rule on marijuana if they make it legal everywhere, which looks like that's the way it's going. You can't be under the influence, period. And that ain't just that. That's under the influence of anything. Listen to me, those of you that go to the doctor and get prescription drugs, read the bottle. If it says don't operate heavy equipment when you take this pill, that means you cannot drive.
Yeah. Okay, and I think we're at the
goodbye.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. So let me tell you what's going on this week. And y'all know that we're at the end of Camp Village's Easter week. So let's see. Bonifay Country Club is hosting Funny Floridians Comedy Show April 19th. That will include dinner and doors open at 5:30. The show starts at 7:30. Bonifay Country Club. Like I said, I thought about going to that because it sounds like it might be fun. But figured they already sold the tickets now.
There goes the electric company.
Yeah, it goes the
electric. I wonder if there was something here.
Don't know. I did see a truck, like I said, across Hillsborough Trail, and they were setting up cones and stuff. But this month's cruise-in will be 49 Saturday at Spanish Springs. And the Ace Arts and Crafts Festival is 10 to 5, Saturday and Sunday at Brownwood. I have dozens of vendors selling a variety of arts and crafts, jewelry, mixed media, and photography. Also, Bike Fest, April 25th to 27th. 3 days of music, food, and live entertainment, thousands of motorcycles. The running of the square is Saturday at 8 a.m. at Spanish Springs. Friday the 18th, Senior Game Celebration of Athletes is 10 to 2 p.m. at Rohan Rec Center. And that's where you go and pick up your packets and your numbers and that kind of thing. Also, if you're a big Relic fan, which I know Kevin is, they are doing a concert at Savannah Center. I believe it's Friday night. So you might look into that. I don't know who all they're going to have with them, but I've heard all good things. I haven't heard them myself, but I know Kevin and Karen are big fans, and I've heard other people, that really, really love their concerts. So having it at the Savannah Center, that might be a plus. Sound-wise. Okay. I think we're done.
Pittsburgh. That's percentage. I said Philadelphia. I was close. One city's about as bad as the other one.
We're dead.
We are?
Yep.
Huh. I wonder what causes this.
I don't know. Actually, is it out in the sun enough that it's getting hot?
No. Because it's about the same time as last week. So there must be a timer or something on this thing. I got to figure this out.